Before we get started, Dusty, could we get a monk check?
A monk check?
Yeah, is your roommate still watching Monk or what?
Oh yeah, he is. Absolutely.
How far along is he?
Well, the last season or the last episode I watched, he was kind of making fun of it because they did a scene like on a submarine, and like you could tell the CGI, like they were standing on a ramp and it was like a fake submarine, fake CGI water background. It was kind of cheesy, but I don't know. I'd have to check.
Yo, give it a break. The fucking TV budget wasn't what it was.
They had a budget.
Oh, well, yeah. CGI back then.
It is now, yeah.
Yeah.
Best show, though.
What the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
Yeah, welcome back, folks. This is episode 83, Harsh Language Podcast. Remember, you should check out all of our links over at harshlanguage.tv. Dusty, let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about Batman's no-kill rule? Out of curiosity?
Whack.
Shut up.
I'm a little perplexed on it because, Batman was the kind of guy who would drop a dude off of a fucking ceiling, you know, whether or not he dies or breaks his legs, he really didn't care in some of the comic books. And that was kind of one of the things where like him and Superman really stood apart is Superman's like, no, we can't hurt people. We can't kill people. Like that was kind of a thing there where, so, I don't mind it, but
Okay. Well,
it wouldn't bother me if he had a kill rule. Like if he killed people, it wouldn't bother me at all.
that's fair. You see, I'm of the old school camp where his no-kill rule is the only thing that sets him apart from the mob that killed the bad guy that killed his parents and also those he fights. It's the one thing that sets him apart from being just like all of them. Otherwise, he's fucking the Punisher, basically, dressed as a fucking bat. So,
Right.
I think it's a very fine line, and I think it's what makes...
Which he kind of is. There's some parallels there. He's out for not necessarily... Well, vengeance or justice, but
here's the thing: the Punisher is only out for blood, and that is the only justice is
straight vengeance.
You're dead.
Right.
There's no question. Batman still has that like one bit of morality in him, that shred. It's the only thing that keeps him, like I said, from teetering over that edge. But your boy Zack Snyder, he feels otherwise. Did either of you watch the Zack Snyder episode of the Slow Rogan podcast or what?
No, I haven't gotten to it yet.
Okay.
Can't watch much Rogan these days.
Yeah,
I did see some headline that he was talking about, Batman has sex to forget all the stuff. Like
the pain.
Why even
Make
go
the
there?
pain go
No,
away.
Marvin's joking without context, but that's like literally what he says.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he says Batman. He said Batman fucks to forget. He drinks to forget. Batman wakes up in the morning and takes a fucking shot of leftover alcohol and pops some pills, and he's like, "That's Batman to me." But
Well, sounds like a
it's
Watchmen
kind of his
guy.
Clark Kent. Like he's a billionaire womanizer, alcoholic, and drug addiction, just like Tony Stark. Alcohol and drug addiction is
but he's not
drug addiction, but like alcoholism.
Bruce Wayne's not a playboy. That's his like persona as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's like like Clark Kent is the fumbly, bumbly, fucking nerd guy.
Yeah.
Whereas Bruce Wayne has to portray this womanizing, alcoholic billionaire.
I see.
Yeah, I listen. I truly and honestly, like, have tried to give this dude the benefit of the doubt when it comes to certain things.
So it is personal. Let's get down to it.
Now it is.
Oh fuck!
Now
it
it
was
is.
always personal.
It was all-
Marvin.
Dusty
We
knew.
know the truth.
No, no.
Dusty called this fucking 10 episodes ago or something.
No. Listen,
He's been on to you, buddy.
but after watching this episode of Rogan, I now understand like why his DC movies were the way they were, and I understand why all his movies were the way they were. In fact, this dude's got some problems, and I'm not trying to be funny when I say this. You could watch it and judge for yourself. But this dude, it's about a 2-hour episode, and all this dude does is talk about sex. Like from, I'm not joking. Like from the mind of a child, like a prepubescent boy who has only seen his dad's Playboy magazines or something. Like Like that's all he talked about. Me and Ed were like flabbergasted because I got Ed to watch it. Shout out to Ed. And like
Shout out.
all this dude's talking about, he's like, man, you know, he talks about in Watchmen, and I know you guys have both seen this, right? And Watchmen, for the most part, I've defended Watchmen. I love Watchmen. He explains how he wanted Rorschach's mom in the flashback when Rorschach, like, because she was a prostitute when he was a child, and there's that one scene where he like thinks that she's getting attacked by the John that she's fucking, and he like interrupts, and she like slaps the shit out of him, and she's like fucking screaming at him or whatever. I should have fucking got rid of you, whatever the fuck. Well, Zack Snyder explains to Joe Rogan how he wanted her to be naked in that scene. He wanted her to be topless, and he like really fought for it. And the executives were like, dude, you can't have a child like with a topless woman. Like, that's not cool. And it turns out that child actor was actually Zack Snyder's son, and he uses his own son. The same kid he was in 300 as well, and he uses his own kid because he says it's easier than having to like explain to the actor's parents like what you're going to be doing. It's like it's his kid, he knows. It's like whatever.
What the fuck?
So he pushed for the for Rorschach's mom to be topless in this scene, and the executives were like, "Nah, like we can't do that. We'll only do it if you get the kid's mother to be Rorschach's mom topless." And Zack Snyder, this isn't Deborah Snyder. This is, I guess, is his kid with a previous marriage or relationship or whatever. And he literally tried to ask his ex, like, "Yo, do you want to be in this scene topless with our son?" And I was listening to this and I was like,
holy shit.
yeah, dude, I'm not even joking. Like the layers of like fucked up, like crazy bullshit that you have to dig through to like figure out what this guy's talking about. And the way he was talking about it was like a giddy child. Like, yeah, I thought it would be great if I really wanted her to be topless. Like, well, why? How does that serve the scene or the plot or the character in any way, shape, or form? It's like you just wanted to see titties in that scene. Okay.
Yeah.
But throughout this whole episode, that's just one of the more jarring moments. But throughout this whole episode, like he's talking about like dicks and like, oh, if it would be so cool if like this character just pulled his dick out. That'd be wild. He talks about fucking he would love to see like a version of Star Wars where like he's like, oh, when Luke goes into that cantina, he's just a little farm boy. He's like, I think that guy who the walrus character, whoever the fuck like he interacts with when he first goes into the cantina in that first Star Wars, Dusty, Zack Snyder's like, oh, I think he wants to fuck Luke. Like, I think it's like a sexual thing is why he's
That's
fucking
why he
with
made
him.
Rebel Moon that way. The same cantina scene that was way more sexual.
Bro, this guy has a problem. Like, he's a deviant.
He's a fucking deviant.
No, it's weird. It's weird, dude. He talks about it like multiple times. Even like at points, Rogan's like, like, okay. And then they start talking about like that old comic. You know the movie Heavy Metal? Marvin's not going to know it. Do you remember the movie Heavy Metal that MTV put out? Based off of a comic book that's like very graphic and R-rated. Well, Zack Snyder talks about how he read this when he was a kid, and it was his like favorite thing in the world. And his mom bought it for him by accident. Like she didn't realize it was like mature. This he has like sexual trauma from a kid, and he's like obsessed with this shit. And that's why like he has the weird sex scene in Watchmen. It's why fucking he wanted to have. I think I mentioned this. His idea was to have fucking Wonder Woman be raped, and Patty Jenkins was like, "Nah, dude, like that's not happening." Like this guy is fucked in the head.
Yeah, raped by other women on from the Amazon. Yeah, makes a whole lot of sense. There's no dudes there.
This dude is fucked in the head, and then he goes like at one point he confirms what I have always said and joked about. Really, truthfully, I joked about it with Ed and probably you guys, where I say like he wanted to make the Watchmen just with legacy characters like Superman and Batman, and he literally says it in this thing. He's like, "Yeah, I'm a big fan of deconstruction. That's what Watchmen did, and that's what fucking Batman, Dark Knight Returns did, and Frank Miller did so well." Like he's also obsessed with the Dark Knight Returns. Like he talks about it like drooling over it like multiple times throughout this episode. And yeah, he's just a fan of deconstruction and this, that, and thing. And someone needs to tell this fucking dude what deconstruction actually means, because because you don't. Deconstruction is not just arbitrarily stripping a character of everything that makes them who they are. That's not what deconstruction is. Deconstruction isn't like
while also stripping them of their clothes.
Right. Deconstruction is not like, well, what if Batman killed? Fuck it. Let's just put him in a situation. And he talks about the scene in Dark Knight Returns. Again, Marvin, Dark Knight Returns is like a non-canon story that Frank Miller did of an old Batman who's like retired and he's like jaded because all his work amounted to nothing. And Gotham is overrun with these like mutants. And there's this, and then he suits back up. But in the Dark Knight Returns, he is like a much more brutal vigilante because he's old and doesn't give a fuck. Yeah. And what Dusty said is actually like a huge part of the story. Throughout the Dark Knight Returns, he has a conflict with Superman because Superman's like, bro, you gotta like fucking relax. But in this story, Superman has become like a tool of the government. So it's like it's interesting stuff. But it's like his fucking Bible, the way he talks about it. But in it, there's a scene where a mutant has a little girl at gunpoint, and he says to Batman, he's like, I'll kill her, I swear. And he's like, and Batman's like, I know you will. Or he says, I believe you. And then Batman like shoots the fucking mutant. And like, he's like, yeah, he's like, that always stood out to me. And he's like, that's what I want to see. I want to put Batman in like, he's like in a situation where there's nothing he can do. He has no choice, and then see him come out on the other end of it and see like how fans react to that. And it's like he basically said in so many words, I just wanted to like see what happens if I change these characters. He wanted to make his own thing is basically what he says. And yeah, so I was right all along. Fuck Zack Snyder. That's it. I encourage you guys to watch this episode. It's like, because I know it sounds like I'm exaggerating with like the sex and nudity shit, but I swear to you guys, I am not exaggerating. Like, it's all he fucking talked about.
No, I believe you.
And it was weird, man. It's like a grown man, a grown adult in his like 50s, maybe 60s, just being like, yeah, wouldn't it be sick if like this fucking guy just like came out with his dick out? And it's like, dude, what are you talking about, bro? It's like, man, it was very weird.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
Anyhow, I had to come out of the gate with that because it's been like burning inside of me for the past couple of days.
Yeah, there were a lot of Zack Snyder like headlines in the news, and I didn't procure any of them because I figured you would either talk about it or we just ignore it because
most of the news,
it's like, who fucking cares?
Most of the headlines are of like Zack Snyder thinks Batman should kill, and it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Well, he talked about Rebel Moon and Rebel Moon 2, the director's cut and all that bullshit. I was like,
yeah. There's a 4-hour cut of both coming. He said, it's like, okay. Anyway, how was your guys' weekends?
Well, when was the Oscars was yesterday.
Yeah, me and Marvin
recording
watched
Monday the 12th.
Yeah.
We watched it live. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
we did.
In lieu of recording, or
no? We were watching. We were hanging out in Joey's Discord. Shout out and hanging out with them, watching it.
Okay.
Well, you went to bed or something. So remember?
Yeah.
Sounds like you guys were watching before I said I was going.
Oh, I mean, it ended at like around 10, I think, 9:30 or 10.
All right.
It was good though.
I don't watch that shit anymore.
Yeah. I mean, there was a couple really good moments. I think my favorite moment was when Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger came out as twins. And they're like, we have something in common. Yeah, we both tried to beat up Batman. And then they kind of went on this joke. And then they pointed out Michael Keaton in the crowd. Yeah. And he just sat there stoically like fucking Bruce Wayne. And at the end, he does this. I don't know if you've seen the gif of that floating around on the internet. But that was an amazing moment. I thought it was pretty good.
I saw a weird moment, apparently. I don't know if the internet was just making more of a big deal as it was that when it actually happened. If it was a big deal at all, I don't know the context of it. I just saw somebody bitching about it on Twitter. But apparently, like, Jimmy Kimmel kind of made a couple of, like, really bad jokes about Robert Downey Jr.'s, like, history with, like, drug use. And Downey was kind of just, like...
He was taking like a champ.
Kind of trying to, like, brush it off, but, like, respectfully.
He made it awkward. Yeah. He definitely made it awkward.
Kimmel did.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
Yeah.
Robert
I
Downey
thought
was
writers were
let's just
back.
keep it going.
That was,
I mean,
that was terrible.
Downey was pretty good. Anyway, he tried to play along with it, but he made some weird faces. Like, why would you say that? Like, why are we still doing this? Like, get to the next joke. This is stupid.
And Downey doesn't care either. I've seen interviews with him where he's been asked about like, oh, you think you still have like a weakness to drugs? And he's like, what the fuck are we doing, dude? Like, what? Like, and he just like walks out of the interview. Yeah, I don't like Jimmy Kimmel at all. I fucking hate that guy. So I don't
he
know.
sucks.
I hope he's like not funny, and like he just seems like such a fucking. And I like listen. I know it's like the right wing conspiracy thing to like shit on Hollywood, but like he's like such a fucking Hollywood guy, and I don't mean
he's
like
a shill.
He's like super like blue MAGA fucking like just all he does like all it's just he's not funny. He never was funny. Like the Man Show was funny like years ago when I was a fucking preteen, and it's like boobs and beer.
Oh yeah.
He's just like he
did blackface with Karl Malone, and
he's
I mean pretty funny too, but. He's trying to forget all that because that was when he was a toxic man, and now he's a reformed.
Now he's a reformed
chill
lib.
for
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I don't think he's funny. But yeah, that's cool. I don't know. I didn't watch any of the Oscars. I saw a couple of clips. I just sent you guys the one of what's her name accepting her reward. That was pretty sweet.
His funniest joke wasn't even him. I don't know if there's a long running rumor like him and Matt Damon, quote unquote, hate each other.
Yeah.
They fight on the shows and stuff. And there was a dog there. I forget what show it was from, but it was not supposed to be allowed. And then it showed up, and he did some stuff with it. But like at the very end, it showed the dog hiking its leg on Matt Damon's star, and that was like the funniest content he did the whole night.
Gotcha.
And it wasn't even him; it was the dog.
Right. Did you guys watch anything this weekend other than? I know Marvin saw Oppenheimer.
Oh well, yeah,
ago,
I caught up on
what was it?
Shogun. That's really good.
Oh yeah, you were talking about doing that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Watched the first 3 episodes. It's really good.
Yeah, I've heard really good things. I'm probably just gonna let it build up and then watch it because I think it's a one and done. I don't think they're doing another season. He said.
Yeah, just 1 season. That's what I read.
Apparently, it's like based off of a book or something, and that's kind of just they're ending it just how the book ends it.
Yeah.
In and out, but yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that.
I thought it was based on the video game.
No, Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah,
No.
I thought they were making a show about that, and I thought this was it.
No,
Nah.
I don't know if
This
they are
shows what I
making
know.
a show about, but this definitely ain't it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I heard that's really good. I'm looking forward to watching it eventually.
Yep, it's really good.
You watching anything or what?
I watched a foreign flick that I recommended Owen. It's a Taiwanese film. Oh my gosh, what's it called?
You got to keep in mind,
called
Owen
The Pig.
doesn't like good things. So,
Well, we watched Train to Busan, and he really loved that, and it's an action film, so I really enjoyed it. It's called The Pig, the Snake, and the Pigeon. So this guy, he's a criminal.
yeah,
And he finds out that he's dying, and I think his grandma dies too. And he finds out like he's the number 3 most wanted criminal. And so he wants to go out being the number 1 most wanted criminal. So he goes after the other 2. It's actually a great story. And there's a scene in there that I think you will really love, Dan. It's hilarious because he goes to one of the criminals he goes to, like they've escaped and they're like running this religious cult.
right.
Where the criminal's like tricking people into just following and giving up all their possessions and stuff, and he's keeping them. So like he walks into this room and he's like, all right, everybody that doesn't want to die, get out. Like half the people leave and the other half doesn't. So he just goes on this shooting spree of killing these religious cult members. And it's just hilarious.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyway, I thought it was a really good movie. I'd definitely recommend a watch, but
Okay.
Nice.
if you like reading subtitles.
Oh, I don't mind subtitles at all. I love foreign films. I mean,
Yep.
it's people
I
who
grew up on anime, so I'm always down for subtitles.
Yeah, people who are opposed to foreign films are really
Missing out.
Lazy. They're just lazy.
they really are missing out because I mean, there's a whole world of shit out there to watch. I mean,
Yep.
that's cool. I started watching the newest season. I know Marvin hasn't watched it, but I think you were caught up. But Resident Alien, That show started again.
Oh yeah, I have not started the new season yet.
3rd season. Good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm
do
still
wanna
on the
watch that show.
Smallville grind.
It's a great show, Marvin. I don't know if you'd like it, but it's good. I think it's hilarious. It's like
Yeah, it's funny.
got wacky
character.
funny. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of heart, actually. I find myself crying a lot in this show. You wouldn't think it's. I mean, listen, we know I cry at everything, but it has like a fuck ton of heart because it's about an alien who comes to Earth to like. He's basically like aliens are everywhere in the and there's like a intergalactic council, and like any species that like is a danger to like the universal, like just life in the universe has to get fucking wiped out, and obviously humanity is one of them. So he gets sent to Earth to like wipe out Earth, but he fucks up, and but as he's on Earth, he gets stuck on Earth, and as he's here,
he crashes a ship or some shit.
yeah, and as he's here, basically, as the show is him trying to like fix his ship and stuff. But the longer he's here, he becomes like the more human he becomes, and like he learns like the values of humanity and stuff. So it's like through him, the show.
Nice.
Is like really a narrative about like what it is to be human. It's really actually very good.
It's like Dragon Ball Z.
And I'm glad they're keeping it running because sci-fi has a tendency to like make good shit and then they just like cancel it or sell it to something else.
Yeah.
They did that with The Expanse, and they did it with that the fuck was that show? That like cartoon ass show.
They canceled Happy or whatever.
Happy, that's what I'm thinking of, yeah. Well, they couldn't find a buyer for Happy, is what it was.
Right.
And of course, you know, Expanse got sold to Bezos. But
It got picked
Speaking
up
of
after being
Dragon
canceled
Ball.
by Sci-Fi.
Yeah. Shout
It
out
didn't
to
get sold
Akira
directly to
Toriyama.
them. You don't remember this?
Wait,
Bezos'
hang on,
son
Dustin.
was a
yeah, but he bought it from Sci-Fi, didn't he?
no. It had been canceled for a while.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know how the workings of buying it once it's been canceled works or how that works, but
Fair. What were you saying, Dusty? I'm sorry.
No, just shout out to Akira Toriyama. He's the
Yep.
creator of Dragon Ball. He passed
in
away at
peace.
68. Yeah.
68. That's
Yeah, he had an acute subdural hematoma, I guess.
The fuck does that mean?
just another
think,
bug in the software,
Yeah.
hardware rather.
But he credited Disney's 101 Dalmatians as well as Astro Boy as his reason for getting into the anime.
Astro Boy. You
So,
know,
yeah.
speaking of Astro Boy, I don't know if you guys had heard of. I think it's called Pluto. It's an anime that Netflix picked up.
Nope.
It's really good. I started reading the manga, and it's really good. It's by the same person that did. I don't know if you guys have heard of Billy Bat.
Nope.
Anybody heard of that?
Mm-mm.
Oh well,
No.
it's another manga series. Anyway,
Zero
he's
knowledge
really,
of manga or anime.
he's a really
Yeah,
good.
I don't read a lot of manga. I'll watch some of the good shows sometimes, but
Marvin, being so into
Well, if you ever want to
anime-
watch something really good and you want to try some anime, try to watch Pluto. It's really
it's
good.
called Pluto. Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out.
There's that
on
show
Netflix.
on Netflix. The fuck, Blue Eyed Samurai is supposed to be like fucking phenomenal.
Yep.
Yeah, my
That's
cousin
supposed to be
Marcus told me about that actually, and I haven't gotten around to it, but I need to. I heard it was
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, I gotta watch that. But yeah, so I watched. I've been watching that since it's come out. But I watched over the weekend. I watched Ricky Stenicki. I don't know if either of you have heard of it, but
What is
it's-
that?
It's a movie that just came out on Amazon Prime. It's with Zac Efron, John Cena, and like a couple other people, but it's directed by Peter Farrelly of the Farrelly brothers.
Is this new or is
Yeah.
this like the old Zac Efron project that didn't get released for a while? Because they're coming out with something that he did a while back that
I have no idea. I know it just
he's
came
gained
out.
a lot of weight and changed. Like he broke his jaw. He looks a whole lot different than he used to.
Yeah, apparently he had some like facial reconstruction or something. But yeah, I don't know when this was made, but I know it just came out. But yeah, it was directed by Peter Farrelly of the Farrelly brothers, and I gotta say, it was like pretty refreshing to see that type of comedy again. because there hasn't been one in like a really long time, as far as I can remember. Like for the longest time, the Farley brothers were like the guys making comedy, and they were like the fucking dumb, like just wacky, like over the top, like unrealistic comedies, like fucking, what is it, Me, Myself, and Irene, and there's something about Mary, and like
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber.
You got the guys who made the old school movies, all those guys, and then you had the Broken Lizard guys that were hot for a little while.
Yeah. But yeah, this was like a Farley Brothers movie, like through and through. It was fucking funny. It was funnier than I actually expected it to be. I had seen like the trailer for it on like TikTok or something, and I was like, this is probably fucking gonna be real bad. But I watched it. It was fucking funny. Like, I think Zac Efron's hilarious. I actually like became a fan of his because of like movies like Neighbors and shit. I just think he's a funny fucking guy. But yeah, this was funny. And John Cena is fucking hilarious, by the way. Like, he, yeah, that dude's great. So,
did you see a stunt at the Oscars? Did you see a clip or anything?
Yeah, I did. All the right-wing conspiracy theorists are now saying that's like his Illuminati fucking trials because of what that fucking dumbass said on that fucking show about Kevin
He was
Hart.
allegedly, on screen naked. I only saw a floating title card and some Birkenstocks.
Cat Williams.
Can't see him.
Cat Williams had like a jealous rage on some fucking podcast, and now everybody's like, see, the Illuminati's making him get naked in the Oscars. That's his fucking trial. It's like, fucking please, just shut the fuck up.
Well, that was specifically about black men, so I don't know how they picked that one up.
Who the fuck knows, Marvin? Who knows?
The P. Diddy ring.
But no, Ricky Stenicki, I suggest you guys should watch it. It was funny as fuck. I mean, it's not like the best movie. It's a bad movie, like, but that's what's funny. That's what's good about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like ridiculous. It's one of those. It's like a movie. I just haven't seen a movie like this in a really long time, where you just like turn your brain off, you just fucking laugh, and like that's it. Ridiculous humor. So I really enjoyed that. That was good. Yeah, but that was it. That was my weekend.
Nice. I also finished the first season of X-Files.
Oh shit, let's go.
So
nice.
Yeah, I saw our grateful duo get broken up by the government.
Yep.
And
your introduction.
I have to wait and see what happens to them while they're working apart.
That was your introduction to the smoking man, Marvin.
The smoking man?
Yep. Get used to him.
Mm.
You'll see a lot of him. He's like the main villain of the series.
Oh, okay.
Got it. Yeah, I vaguely remember what happens in the first. It's been a really long time, but when he talks, Mulder meets like Deep Throat, right?
He meets Deep Throat, and then Deep Throat gets shot and killed.
Yeah. And then the end is the smoking man in the office telling the director of the FBI to like split them up, right?
Yeah.
Yep. That's good. I'm glad you're fucking continuing that. Thought you'd given up.
No.
Thought you gave up, Marvin.
Nah, just had to find time.
All right. Well, what's going on in the news, Dusty? Did you dig up any good shit this week or what?
I mean, obviously we had the Academy Awards last night. I think the running bet was Oppenheimer would win 8. It was nominated for 13. It took home 7, including Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, and a whole plethora of other stuff.
Can we talk
Divine
about
Joy Randolph got Best Actress though for The Holdovers, so shout out to that. Godzilla -1 got Best Visual Effects, which is amazing because Godzilla's been around for 70 years and put out 38 films, and this is the first Oscar it's ever won, so that's awesome.
Nice. What do you want to talk about, Marvin?
your predictions, kinda.
My predictions?
Yeah.
What about them?
No, one of your predictions specifically.
Which was it?
American Fiction. It didn't win picture, but it did win best adapted screenplay.
Yep. I predicted it
which
was
I
gonna
shouted
win
you
Best Picture.
for. Well, you said it would be very meta because the movie itself is very meta.
Yeah.
And I shouted you out while we were watching that live.
It's funny. I was just editing those videos and like it was like so obvious the whole time that Oppenheimer was going to win, because in both The Holdovers and American Fiction, we were talking about them. Like both times we were like, like American Fiction, we were like, this could win Best Picture, but it won't. It will just Oppenheimer was going to win. And then Holdovers we were talking about, we were like, man, this is our favorite movie of 2023. This should definitely win Best Picture, but it won't because Oppenheimer's going to win.
But it won't. It's just sad matchup. Yeah,
Oppenheimer was just like the movie this year that was going to win. Like you just know.
It was just clear, yeah.
We'll say though, a lot of firsts this year, right? It was Christopher Nolan's first Oscar win, right?
RDJ.
Robert Downey Jr.'s first Oscar win.
Yep.
Was it Nolan's first?
I think so.
I think it was
Maybe
also
so.
Wes Anderson's first. He
Was
got
it?
one
And
for
he
a
didn't-
short. He did.
That's true.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even there to claim it.
Yeah, because
Yep.
he's a gangster.
Well,
Coen
they're supposedly
brothers
in
don't go
Germany
either.
about to film his next movie, I think.
He don't give a fuck about no fucking Oscar. You know, the Coen brothers, they don't go to the fucking Oscars because they don't give a fuck, number one. And number two, apparently, so you have to have remember I told you this, Marvin, that they like swap writing and directing credits with each movie?
Yeah.
They do that because they work as a duo, and apparently there's some like weird rule with like the not the Screen Actors Guild, but like whatever fucking guild you're in, union, like you can't have dual credits. And so in order to do what they do, they can't be a part of the union, but because they're not a part of the union, they like can't go to the Oscar. It's like very bizarre, like weird thing. Anyhow.
Yep.
So so Godzilla won. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Speaking of the holdovers, it's under a little bit of controversy right now.
Oh yeah.
What? Why?
Simon Stevenson reached out to the Writers Guild of America with claims that the holdovers was plagiarized from his script Frisco.
Oh,
Now,
man, I
Frisco
saw
is
this.
something. This was a drama centered around a weary, middle-aged children's doctor and the 15-year-old patient he gets stuck with looking after. He wrote this script, I think, like back in 2013. It was one of the hottest screenplays in Hollywood. I think it was number 3 on their blacklist, which is an annual survey of the Hollywood's best unproduced screenplays. And then Alexander Payne, who did the holdovers, apparently had the Frisco script both in 2013 and in late 2019. So he read the script a couple times, and Simon Stevenson is saying there's clearly some stuff that he ripped off from my script. And so I don't know. These lawsuits don't really, it's not even a lawsuit. It's just a complaint he's filed with the WGA, the Writers Guild. He may sue. That's probably going to be his best avenue. Usually these things take a while. I don't even remember what the last movie was that went into a lawsuit about plagiarism, but I think it lasted like 7 or 8 years in the courts before anything ever happened. But yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting news story.
Yeah.
Damn, that
but
would
anyways.
suck.
I wonder if that's gonna
Yeah.
go anywhere.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll keep an eye on it.
Oh.
And I guess so on to WB. We got some news for you, Dan.
Oh.
Yvonne Chapman has been added to the cast of Superman and Lois. She's been cast as Amanda McCoy. She's been running Luthor Corp in Lex's absence, and she is. It said something like she's one of the few people that Lex considers his equal. So she will be a powerful force against the Kents, and so
Spoiler territory for you.
we'll see how that goes. Yeah, a little bit. But yeah,
She was also in Avatar, The Last Airbender, apparently.
Who was she?
I
Cartoon?
forgot to put her other credits down.
Was
Cartoon or the live action piece of dog
the
shit?
2024 live action. She was Avatar Kyoshi,
Oh,
apparently.
okay.
So yeah,
She was good.
so she'll
actually.
be Alex ally in Superman and Lois. And circling back around to Michael Keaton, he recently revealed that he saw a cut of the Beetlejuice sequel.
Saw that.
And that he can confidently
hype.
say this thing is great. So
Nice.
happy about that. Obviously, everybody's coming back with some new people involved as well. That's coming out September 6th.
You know,
wow.
But it's good to hear that he's happy about it. We
Whenever-
still have a
Theaters,
ways away,
right?
but
Is it theaters or is it not?
yes.
yeah.
yeah.
Whenever an actor is hyping up their next project, like you got to take it with a grain of salt because they're not just gonna come out and be like, "Yeah, nah, this is a piece of shit. I saw it. Fuck that movie. I hate it. Don't go see it." But
Yeah.
it's
Well,
Well, I mean, listen,
Sony's a little upset with their Madam Web
I saw
actress.
that.
That's true. Sydney Sweeney, didn't she say something
No,
crazy?
not Sydney Sweeney, the other one. But anyhow,
I thought it was Sydney that said something too.
maybe, I don't know. But both him and Tim Burton have been like strongly against apparently making Beetlejuice all these years a sequel, unless they like really had something like good to put out. So it seems to stand on good reason that they're pretty happy with what they got because they're willing to make it to begin with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe. If it's bad enough, like I said, and it was Sydney Sweeney. She actually did it during her SNL monologue.
Oh, did she?
Yeah. If it's bad enough, I guess they will.
They will what?
Slander the movie.
Yep.
Oh, maybe, yeah. I don't know. Michael Keaton doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. You're not. I don't know. I think if like
well, he probably wouldn't get involved with the project that he even thinks has a chance of being
I think
shitty.
if the whole world is shitting on your project, I think like it's open season.
It's different now,
like,
yeah. It's open.
Especially on SNL where it's like, oh, it's just a joke.
It's
like,
just a joke. Yeah, true.
But go on, Dusty.
All right. And then legendary entertainment CEO Josh Grode says the studio is prepared to move forward on Dune 3 once director Denis has a script that he's happy with. I think it's currently sitting close to 400 million. I think it has to hit 500 to be profitable.
Can I just real quick?
Oh, wow.
You just reminded me, talking about numbers. Zack Snyder on Joe Rogan's podcast also had the balls to say that more people watched Rebel Moon than Barbie, he said.
I sent that in to us. Yeah.
Based on the way Netflix calculates
It's view time. Yeah.
its view time and like households that they, but he said it with a straight face. Like, yeah, I mean, listen, like according to Netflix, like Rebel Moon's more popular than Barbie. So people clearly like this shit. It's like, bro.
How many people fell asleep halfway through and had to rewatch it 2 times?
Right. That somebody actually said that on Twitter. Like there's no actual real metric for that for Netflix.
There's
like,
not.
There just isn't.
There's also not counting how many people streamed Barbie once it was available to be streamed.
Right. It's ridiculous.
Like you can't even.
Oh yeah, he's just
My
he was just probably
stream
doing
movies,
the metrics against
like,
the
what?
theatrical and not theatrical and streaming. So
Come on, bro.
Crazy.
But anyhow,
How are you gonna cook
obviously,
the already cooked numbers? Like that's
That's
we
what
don't
the
even trust
streamers do.
Netflix's number. Now you're gonna like Jesus Christ.
That was a big deal during the strike. As artists wanted better commission for streaming stuff because
Rightfully
the streaming
so.
companies weren't being honest about the numbers and whatnot. They're fudging them for their own metrics. But yeah, we already know that Denis wants to do a third one. The second one's doing well enough. It's I don't know if it's going to be $1 billion movie, but it probably will. But if not, it'll get pretty close. So yeah.
Okay.
This is 400 million after when did it come out?
It's been 2 weeks.
Oh,
Yeah.
2 weeks already.
This is this weekend was the second weekend. I watched it last weekend.
Right.
And it was out at the end of this. And I think when I was looking at the numbers, like the opening weekend was pretty big. During the week, it's hitting like 5 to 8 million a day. And on the weekends, it's anywhere from 10 to 20 million a day. So it's still doing really good. And it's going to be out for several more weeks. So I'd expect it'll do pretty well. It'll make a profit. Whether or not it hits $1 billion, who knows? Anyhow, on to Disney. Well, this isn't really. Oh yeah, I guess this is Star Wars Skeleton Crew star Dane DeLiegro was talking with the direct, and he was talking about when we can expect to see this come out. He says on Disney Plus, probably by the fall. He said, if I were to guess, I guess that's completely surmising. There's no information behind that. I know that Lucasfilm likes to release things around November-ish, so I'm really hoping by then. So maybe we'll get some more Star Wars on the streaming platform, but we won't be getting any Star Wars on the big screen until The Mandalorian and Grogu. Brendan Wayne, who plays the Mandalorian in place of what's his name?
Pedro?
Oh, Pedro, yeah.
That was
Not Oscar.
racist.
Yeah, I know.
What did he call him?
Oscar.
Oscar. Brendan Wayne says The Mandalorian Grogu will likely begin filming this June. It's a feature. This is a feature film. It's going to be directed by Jon Favreau. It's also produced with Kathleen Kennedy and Dave Filoni. This isn't set to hit theaters until 2026. So the only Star Wars kind of stuff we're going to get is going to be Disney Plus streaming.
What a shame.
Because a feature film. We still got a couple years to wait for a feature film.
Yeah.
And then
let us wait. It's not a big deal.
Miss Marvel's Iman Vellani recently revealed she has been assured her character will return to the MCU. That's all she knows thus far. She said she's been given breadcrumbs, which basically says your character's coming back, but we're not telling you when or how or where.
Yeah.
Just that it is. And so that's a confirmation.
Apparently, I didn't bother clicking on it, but I saw a headline about how, like, apparently Marvel's been, like, secretly canceling some shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I saw something about that, but I didn't really click on it.
You probably saw it on Screen Crush because they did a video about it. It's been part of their, like, clickbait agenda. See the one today that they put out? I'm getting fucking flamed because I actually commented on it. They put out a video that's like, Barbie and Oppenheimer were the same film all along. And I actually watched the video, and it's like him. It's like 20 minutes of him being like, "Oh, look, the plots are like very linear, or they're parallel plots. Like they kind of have a similar narrative." And he's not wrong. It's just like, bro, it's so.
You could argue that about most movies, though.
Right.
That's actually funny because I said the same thing. Sorry, real quick, Dan. I said the same thing about Barbie and Poor Things because it's like kind of a similar story, but.
I mean,
I haven't seen Poor Things, but my understanding that it's like someone coming alive for the first time, which I guess you could say that about fucking Pinocchio too. So it's like the same shit.
Well, that's kind of the parallels that he's making is how he makes a couple of ones that like, well, whatever, fine. But then there's others that it's just like, all right, you're reaching a little bit. But it's very obvious, regardless of what he says, is that with the accuracy of what he says, it's like the video went out because it's the day after the Oscars, and those were the two biggest movies of 2023. Like, and
finally
like,
tuned around the hot topics.
Exactly.
Yeah, keywords.
And like the channel that got big primarily by making fucking Easter egg videos about comic book movies. Their content has all but dried up because there hasn't been any comic book movies in quite a bit. Yeah. So they have to put out content. I wrote that. I made a comment. I was like, damn, I'm all for fucking making videos based on SEO, but goddamn, you guys aren't even trying or something of the sort. And I'm just getting like shit on by all their
They're
fucking
actually
fans.
trying really hard, actually.
It's just like
make that content.
Like, what a ridiculous concept of like, they were the same movie all along. It's like, dude, way to
Next week
devalue
it'll be
both
Dune
movies.
and Star Wars were the same all along.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, that was another thing too. Zack Snyder said just ridiculous. He said something about how like Star Wars should be more adult themed and less kiddie. It's like, yeah, fuck face.
Kiddie.
That's Dune.
Yeah.
That's true. Make your own shit. Oh, fuck. My shit's frozen.
Yeah, you frozen.
Oh, wait, no.
Oh, he's back.
No, you're back.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Make your own shit. Stop remixing fucking. Well, I guess, he did make his own shit. It's Rebel Moon.
Yeah, it's just bad.
Did you see what
more
Mr.
titties.
Juan Carlo Esposito said?
I did, and I'm not a fan of him.
What did he
anymore. Now I don't like
He
him.
said he wants the Professor X role, and he wants Denzel as Magneto in the upcoming Marvel X-Men movies.
I think that'd be great.
Why not?
I think
Why
Denzel
not?
would be a great Magneto, but
We have a lot of problems with this. A lot of lore problems. This is
because he's black.
well, no, I actually.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, that is.
It is. That's exactly the reason.
Dusty's gonna hit. I don't even
fuck.
need to hear what
Here we
the
go.
words come out of his mouth. Dusty's gonna say the same thing Ed says, that Magneto, being a child of the Holocaust, is too ingrained into his story to change it.
Yes.
I disagree. I think you could easily retcon him, and instead of being a child of the Holocaust, he could be a child of the civil rights era, or like fucking slavery,
Child of literal slave.
or something. I think
slavery.
I think that
Who did he have sex with to make the Maximoff twins pasty white kids?
that's not going to happen. They've already retconned that.
What do you mean they've retconned that?
We've
That the Maximoff kids are not Or not?
Yeah, the MCU has already established that they are not mutants. They were made from the Mind Stone.
Okay,
Oh,
they're still his
shit.
kids.
They are not his kids.
Okay.
They're not. The MCU has already established it. I mean, I'm not saying they can't go back and retcon it, but I don't think they will. I think that'd be too confusing. They're not going to want to do.
I don't know.
They're not going to want to. They're not going to want to do that. So
Then with the Professor X stuff, like David Heller as Legion, like his mom was an Israeli diplomat. So
Legion's not canon, Dusty. You stumble over
not
these
in the
speed
MCU
bumps
yet.
all
No,
the time.
I'm talking about comic book lore that
I know.
comic book fans are going to be upset about. Like, how are you going to explain this away? Like, Scarlet Witch is Magneto's daughter.
I mean, listen,
and if you can't, and that's another thing where I talk about how they're going to have to reboot, because having someone like Scarlet Witch not around during all the X-Men stuff is also going to piss some comic book nerds off. But
well,
I guess
Get over it.
well, listen, as I've said to you many times, this isn't the comic books. This is the MCU. So they could do whatever the fuck they want, and people will have to get over it. But also, I lost my train of thought. I don't think
Make them black.
Yeah, I don't think
Just make them Magnegro or whatever the fuck.
Magnegro. There's enough trauma in the history of Black people in America to have the same impact on the character as being a child of the Holocaust would. So I don't think that's a big deal if they change the race. I get what you're saying, but like again, the MCU has already established.
As somebody who was upset when they talked about maybe making Silver Surfer a woman.
I was not upset. I wasn't upset. I simply said.
You said it wasn't needed and it doesn't need to be done because you like the lore of that character.
It wasn't needed and doesn't need to be done, but I think for the X-Men it's different. And I'm allowed to have that opinion. I don't have to be fucking
you absolutely are.
Firm on
absolutely are. Yeah, no.
I don't think they should
which
make
ones are okay and which ones are not.
I disagree with Marvin. I don't think there should be a black Superman.
That is true.
If you want a black Kryptonian, do Val-Zod. There already is a black Kryptonian. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. I don't think in this case it's that big of a deal. Ed doesn't agree with me. I know you guys are like comic book purists. But the other thing Juan Carlo Esposito said that I thought you were talking about is he said he would only do it if he wasn't confined to a wheelchair. Because he wouldn't want to sit in a wheelchair, he said.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wait, there's going to be so many memes about the Breaking Bad similarities between Juan Carlo in a fucking wheelchair.
Well, no, he
It's
wasn't.
ringing the bell.
That wasn't him, though.
No, it wasn't.
That's the point. He got killed by a man in a wheelchair.
Oh, right.
Yeah. What?
The comic books. See, why don't do you have a problem with that, Dusty?
The problem with...
Are you racist?
Yeah, are you racist? Tell us right now. No, in the comic books, he loses his legs because a fucking Lucifer drops a fucking boulder on his shit and cripples him.
Well, he gets his legs back and then loses them again. Like, he loses his legs twice in the comics.
But in the movies, Magneto he catches a stray bullet from Magneto that cripples him. So,
like, I have one of the issues where he loses his legs. I think the second time.
Listen,
you're nitpicking a man losing his legs.
All I'm saying,
like I said, I mean, the Jewish Holocaust survivor thing is a retcon from Chris Claremont in the 80s. Like, it wasn't even around in the 60s or 70s. So
yeah, I think in this.
I mean, if you want to be purist, you could say, yeah, maybe he could have been black and it was about civil rights, but it's been so ingrained into comic book fans that there's gonna be people that are upset about it.
Whatever, they'll be upset about everything. They'll be upset about everything. But they're upset that Chris Evans wasn't like a fucking bleach blonde and Cap is in the comic books. Like, I think in this particular case, being white isn't central to the core of Magneto. It is the trauma that he experienced, and I think that trauma could be transferred onto a black man and have it involve something with the civil rights or slavery or something like that. And also, I think, it's not by many years, so this is kind of a stupid argument, but we're closer in time to the civil rights era than we are to the Holocaust. Again, not by many years, but...
Well, yeah.
So
sure.
I think it would make sense if that was a retcon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the people that argue that why do you keep doing this is they never go the other way. Like if you made Black Panther white from South America, or if you made Storm white, like people would be up in arms. Like, why are you? This is a
white from
wonderful
South
black
America.
character, and you
The White
can't make
Panther.
them fucking
What?
white. Yeah.
Well, again, I don't think being white is central to the character of Magneto, whereas being
It
African,
is the Superman, the alien.
Well, no, no,
Got him.
no, because that has nothing to do with the race. I made it very clear there already is a black Kryptonian, so just make that. Why?
Yeah,
would
no,
you,
I get that.
Yeah, it's different. So if there was another, if there was a black equivalent to Magneto, I'd say just make him the villain, but there isn't. There's only Magneto.
Right.
You fucked me up, Marvin. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah,
You're racist. It is what it is.
being African is like central to the character of Black Panther. It's like his whole shit. So it's just a little bit different. I understand people
There
would be
are
upset.
white Africans.
I
right?
personally wouldn't be. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Anywho.
I think that's
Oh,
a great
when you
actor.
said South America, I think you meant South Africa. Maybe that's
Yeah,
why
South
I was
Africa. Did I
confused.
say South America? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's why I was laughing.
South America. Yeah. Anywho, but it works either way. I mean,
You ain't gonna find no white Wakandans, that's for damn sure.
yeah. Spider-Man 4. It's starting to sound like maybe Sony has made a deal with Marvel, and this is going to be a street level film with Daredevil. But
Oh,
they
nice.
are going to be looking for a new director. I think it's John Watts is out. In a totally unrelated but maybe similar news, Marvel is so happy with Sean Levy, but they're going to ask him to do some future projects for them because Daredevil is so amazing, is what we're hearing.
Sean Levi's doing it?
Daredevil? Yeah.
Oh.
He did Daredevil. Yeah.
Okay. The new one, Born Again.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Nice.
I'm pretty sure.
He's producing Deadpool and Wolverine. I know that.
Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine. That's, yeah. Oh, okay, I said Daredevil, didn't I?
You certainly did. You're confusing me.
I'm sorry. Yes.
I was like, wait a second. That doesn't.
Because I
sound
was
right.
looking at the word Daredevil because Spider-Man street level Daredevil, and I was thinking
That's fair.
Deadpool. But yeah, Sean Levy's doing
Honest
Deadpool,
mistake.
and they're so happy with it that Anywho, speaking of Sony, apparently, and they're saying this is because it's Columbia Pictures' 100-year anniversary. But the disaster that was Madam Web, they are re-releasing all the Spider-Man films in theater this year. They say to celebrate Columbia Pictures' 100-year anniversary, but they really just need some money.
It's totally not to recoup the fucking money that they lost.
The losses that they've been taking for their Spider-Verse films.
Has
which
nothing to do
they're
with
not
that.
all losses. I mean, Spider-Verse, which, I mean, they're one of the great films that didn't get any Oscars or at the Academy Awards. So,
Talk about controversy.
yep.
Yeah.
But anyhow, on to all the rest of the stuff. Ben Affleck, John Bernthal, J.K. Simmons, and Cynthia Dye Robinson are all returning for The Accountant 2 at MGM Amazon. I think this is going to be a theatrical release, but MGM Amazon is doing it. Maybe it'll be a digital release because it's Amazon. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Gavin Connor is set to return as the director. And the original film screenwriter Bill Dubuque has also penned the sequel. The plot of this one is Medina's former boss is killed by an unknown assassins, and she's forced to contact Christian to solve the murder. Medina was the accountant that worked alongside Ben Affleck in the previous movie.
Right.
And we lost Marvin.
Come on, Marvin, get it together. I didn't expect to hear his voice, so I'm not gonna lie. There he is.
There's something going on with
So
video.
yeah, we got The Account 2 coming out. And then billion-dollar movies is what we're kind of talking about. I know Oppenheimer fell a little short, but the Super Mario Brothers movie is getting a sequel. Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelinek are both returning to direct. They gave us a date on this, Marvin. April 3rd, 2026 is when it's supposed to come out, and they're already, quote-unquote, busy working at storyboarding scenes and developing set designs for new environments. They want to expand the Mario world, but it looks like they're bringing everybody back to make a new one, and we'll get to see that one in 2026. And
I don't think it's a true sequel from what I was reading. Like, I mean,
Yeah, I
it's the
don't-
second
I mean,
movie, but
it's-
it's like not
yeah.
a continuation of like where they
Correct.
left off or whatever. There's
No,
an
they just want to
article that
expand
was
upon the
saying
world. It'll be a
something
different,
about,
totally different adventure.
yeah. Some insider says it's not even going to star Mario. I don't know if it's true or not.
Ooh.
They're trying to tie it to an upcoming game, allegedly. I don't know.
They're making Mario black.
How do you make the Super Mario Brothers and not have the Mario Brothers in it? I don't.
They do have a lot
That
of
one.
characters that fans will recognize, but other people
Yeah,
may
but I
not
think,
recognize.
I mean,
so.
you can make spin-off movies if you want to do that. And I think they'll do equally. I mean, they're
True.
not going to be billion-dollar movies, but
Right.
it's
I don't know.
It's gonna be called the Super Mario Brothers.
From the Bronx.
Yeah, they're from the fucking Bronx, yo.
Instead of
That's,
from, wait,
that's
weren't they
all the
always
news
from
I have,
Bronx?
though, for
Where are
today.
they from?
I don't know. Where are they from?
Where's Mario from?
Brooklyn.
Dusty?
Is it
Brooklyn?
Brooklyn? Is it Brooklyn?
Yeah, they'll be from fucking Harlem.
Wait, is there
or the Bronx.
is there an actual like place where they're from in the guy?
Yes, 100%.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
didn't
they're
realize that.
plumbers from Brooklyn. Yeah, I'm pretty
But
sure.
I thought they were from some fake fucking bullshit land in
No, it's real.
Nintendoville or whatever the fuck.
No, what? You didn't even watch the fucking movie or play any of the games, I
didn't
guess.
watch. I mean, I played the OG games. None of your fucking Zoomer ass shit. Fucking Mario Paint and Mario fucking Wonderland and Mario fucking
What?
Clean the environment.
Luigi's
and all
You
that
House
didn't even
Four.
play fucking. I don't know. how
Paper
you're gonna talk to
Mario?
this guy.
Yeah, no.
He didn't play
Mario-
Paper Mario. He didn't play Galaxy. He didn't play fucking Super Mario.
Some of that whack shit.
Sunshine.
Nah,
Sunshine is one of the best Mario games of all time.
stop it. That's the one where you walk around with a fucking hose and shit.
Yes.
Basically, House Flipper with Mario.
You're cleaning up the fucking goop.
Goop.
Mhm.
You don't know. Ask any of my cousins. They'll tell you.
These Zoomers.
We know Mario. That's one thing we know.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, that's it, Dusty. Is that it for the news?
That's it.
All right. Thank you very much for the news. Let's get into today's review. That is the Oscar-winning Cleaned House. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor. What else did it win? I don't even know.
A lot. I don't know.
Director, movie, actor, supporting actor, and then I think probably some effects or editing.
Did it win cinematography, maybe?
Yes, it was cinematography.
Yeah, won everything as we expected, and that is Oppenheimer.
Almost. It lost a few things to Poor Things, I think,
Yeah.
because it was nominated for 13 and only took home 7, but it
I heard
wasn't a
Poor
clean
Things
sweep.
It lost
really good.
writing to American Fiction.
Yep.
Adapted screenplay.
Yes, but still,
Which I
writing
guess this
nonetheless.
could have won too, because it's based off of a book. But let me tell you something. This dude,
Yes.
Nolan, he could film anything and people will fucking freak out about it.
Yeah.
As you guys know, I didn't watch it until just this weekend for the podcast. I probably wouldn't have watched it if I'm being honest. Otherwise, might have been a really long time until.
I'm surprised at that because you usually are like a history buff
Yeah,
kind of dude.
him and-
So
Well,
Yeah, this
he
is
doesn't like period pieces, though.
don't like period pieces. I really don't like biopics. This is both. And you know, I already knew this was going to be one of those movies that like people were going to freak out about, and I'm just like, yeah, okay. But you know, the issue that I have is really not about the movie or Christopher Nolan, but with his movies, if you like criticize, it's like one of those movies. This in particular is one of those movies where if you like criticize it, you're looked at as like an intellectual lightweight by
yeah,
somebody
you just don't
who
get it.
was ready to kiss this movie's ass, like without even seeing a single second of it. Nolan has a lot of those like fucking fanboys that are like, yeah, you just don't fucking understand it. You don't get his brilliance. I read a
Well, I mean,
headline.
I'm
Him and
almost
Denis,
there.
it's
Like I'm
arguably-
fucking
they're
jerking
the two
Nolan.
best-
Wait.
Two best filmmakers there are, him and Denis.
What did you say, Marvin?
I said I'm almost there as to being one of those fanboys of Nolan. Like he's almost
He's certainly
that fucking guy.
he's certainly one of the best living filmmakers. He might be the best, but people take it a little bit. They go a little crazy. I read a review headline that was like, I'm paraphrasing, but it was like, this is the biggest spectacle on the big screen in all of humanity, like something to that
Oh
effect.
fuck,
And
that's kind of crazy.
I strongly disagree. This movie is not a spectacle. It's a bunch of people fucking talking. Okay, there's no spectacle here. There's some great imagery, but it's mostly people sitting in classrooms and shit, just kind of talking. And I'm not saying
Yeah.
that's a bad thing, just to be clear. It's actually great that it's not a spectacle. It doesn't need to be. People over glorifying it for something that it's not, and I think that's silly. But it's great cinematography. It's not spectacle, and there's a difference.
What is a spectacle? Godzilla?
Yeah,
Minus one?
Godzilla, fucking Avengers Endgame, Dune. Yeah, those are spectacle movies.
Okay.
But with this,
Just trying to get the definition.
with this, Nolan was able to take people sitting in rooms and talking and make them feel like action sequences, which is a remarkable achievement.
That's true.
And he really makes you feel the weight of these conversations and how the consequences of those conversations will echo throughout history.
Oh, yeah.
But like we said, this is a biopic. It's about Robert Oppenheimer, the man who basically brought the world to ruin. And it stars Cillian Murphy and fucking every actor with a pulse. I'm not even going to go through the list. Like, literally everybody's in this movie. Namely, Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr., I'd say, are probably the other, like, big stars in the film.
For sure.
And Emily Blunt.
I think it's mostly about our
Strauss.
Oppenheimer, but it's almost like equally as about Strauss or Strauss.
Yeah. And yeah, this is just really the story of Oppenheimer, the scientist, and his role in developing the atomic bomb. And it is based off of a biography book, which I don't have in front of me at the moment. The name of it, I forgot to write that down. But so this is adapted from a book. Interesting.
The Open Mind.
No, different one.
Not that American Prometheus.
American Prometheus. That's it.
Sorry, The Open Mind was actually written by Oppenheimer himself.
Yeah. So Marvin, start with you. What'd you think of it? You watched it a while ago.
Yes.
Did
I
you
love this
rewatch
movie.
it?
No, I didn't need to. I didn't even need to. I remember like most of the shit, honestly.
Okay.
There was a lot of good stuff in this movie. Like the fact that America as a country is having a nuke race with another country. I guess like the morality of that. The movie did a good job of showing like his internal struggle, like handling, how do you handle celebrating the success of the nuke when you know like what that brings? Like it was a bunch of deep shit in this movie.
You have sex with a woman and make the most famous line you've ever said while you're having sex.
That was a little corny, honestly. Yeah, it's like, I highly
What's
doubt
the line?
that's,
Remind me the line. Remind me of the line.
Now
What
I
would
am
we
become
say?
death, destroyer of worlds.
Oh, okay.
I would bet my fucking left arm that is
Quote
not
in an interview
how
he
that
gave.
went down.
Yeah.
That-
Well, it's
Well, he didn't
famous
create
because
that
he
quote,
said it.
right?
No, I know the line is said by him, but I highly doubt like she hopped off him and fucking pulled a book off the shelf and was like,
He
read
was thinking
this
about the fucking
while
nuke
she's
he's-
fucking him. Like,
no way.
yeah, it's
They all.
like,
I mean, they have to
yeah, for sure.
glorify it for the movie, but he definitely wasn't fucking thinking about the nuke while he's
Yeah.
fucking clapping cheeks. No way.
Clapping cheeks. He
No
was
way.
quite the cheek clapper, this fucking guy.
Dude, why do all great men cheat? There's something about that.
Because they're narcissists. He was a narcissist.
True. Yeah.
What about you, Dusty? Do you love this movie as much as Marvin?
Yeah, I think this is a great movie.
Hey, it's
Very well
objectively a
acted.
great movie, but did you like it?
Yes.
There you go.
That's the question of the evening.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the awards that are received were well worth. Like it received for sound. I thought the sound in this was amazing. Some of the effects they
True.
did, like when he's hallucinating and thinking of all that science shit in his head, it breaks away, and the
All that
cinematography is
science
amazing.
shit.
All that
Yeah.
science shit.
When he's stars and
Sparks
You
and
know.
shit. Yeah.
yeah,
Mine
I don't
is
know.
science.
You know, the cast did a great job of. I mean, I don't know. I think
True,
we kind
I
of
mean-
missed an opportunity of Bryan Cranston being Heisenberg, but
That is probably could have been a funny opportunity.
That's funny.
What were you going to say, Marvin?
I was gonna bring it back to you not liking period pieces or whatever the fuck you said. Like,
Yeah.
if it's a good one, I don't see how you couldn't like it. Like
don't
the
know.
immersiveness of it, it brings you right back to that, even if you weren't even alive during the fucking time.
Well, I don't know. It depends on what it's about. Just generally, I don't care for them. They're usually kind of boring to me because it is a lot like this, just people fucking talking and sitting around.
Yeah,
And
but there's weight, like you
there's
talked
weight,
about.
but
There's
it's
weight to all these things and decisions, and
I don't know. I'm actually very familiar with like this story and like the story of Oppenheimer. So I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit different if you aren't really aware of these things, which I know you are.
yeah,
You're aware of them like politically.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just generally don't like period pieces or biopics. I don't know. I usually just find them pretty boring. Um,
Okay.
But yeah, this one here is this is a movie about really I think the cowardice of neutrality, because he was operating in the service of his country, but he had this inability to really commit to anything, both politically and romantically. And it's reflected in his work as a theoretical physicist. And I think the movie dealt with that really well. He can't grapple with reality. It's all theory. And they even say it like, I think at one point in the movie where like he only thinks in theory, like, you know, he's whatever the fuck they say. And
Right.
he was a brilliant man, but he lacked conviction and it doomed everybody ultimately. If, you know, if he wasn't a coward, he wouldn't have been manipulated so easily. And we see him many times in his life being manipulated by Strauss multiple times, by the government and by, you know, people in his life. And whatever his beliefs were, he was able to be easily controlled by the military industrial complex at this point in time to create literally the worst thing humanity has ever invented. The communists thought he was a traitor. And every right-wing government official thought he was a pussy. And in fact, Truman even said so. I don't know if did Truman say it in the movie? Historically, I think like documented that Truman was like, don't ever bring this pussy in here again. Like after their meeting.
That's the historical version.
Yeah.
And they didn't go that far in
Right.
the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was just like a spineless fucking guy and kind of ended up isolated for it. The thing that I
Well, he had to be careful though. Like he had to toe some lines. I think, you know, he's more liberal and he was all about unionizing and, you know, the communist stuff that like if he would have been too out about that, they would have just fucking killed him.
No, for sure. I mean,
he discredited him a long time ago. So
totally,
like he had to walk a fine line, and he knew it was a race, and he knew that if they got the bomb first, that it would be over. And so he had like there was some real struggle with him. I don't think he was just a pussy. Like he had actually some demons he had to fight with to toe the line to get things done.
Well,
so that the right people had the weapon, which you could argue that us getting it first wasn't the right people getting it, but
Right.
well, I
history
agree with
says
you
otherwise.
up until the point where, I disagree with you up until the point where he realizes like, oh, the Germans lost. Like, we don't have to do this anymore. Yay, we win. And then the government was like, no, you got to keep going.
Sure.
Because prior to that, he was like all gung ho for it. Now, like you said, a lot of the time, and they even show this in the film, he was like, no, the Germans get it. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Like, I'm Jewish. I know what's going on over there. Like, so he was doing it in a patriotic manner, and he really thought he was doing the right thing. And of course, as a scientist, you're always trying to like pursue the next thing. And it wasn't until it was too late that he kind of regretted it, or at least claims to have.
Yeah, but he had more skin in the game when it was the Germans that he
totally.
know.
But historically,
the Cold War that we came to, and I mean, Russia was still trying to do it. So he was actually did the right thing by staying involved in it, not necessarily knowing what it could lead to.
That's the propagandist American version of history. But yeah, don't roll your fucking eyes at me. Yeah, I mean, listen, historically, like he even later in his life always like doubled down on the fact that he did the right thing. So
Really?
Yeah. Like he always felt that he was doing the right thing, like at the time. And that's fine. I mean, there's nothing against that. There are a lot of people criticizing this movie that like they didn't show like the Japanese perspective and this, and it's like, that's not what the movie was. The movie wasn't about the horrific and like horrifying thing that we did to Japan for no reason.
There's lots of movies about that. You
Right.
want to go Tora Tora or something like that.
This wasn't that movie. This was about the man. And I think it did do a good job of like showing the horrors of what happened through his perspective when he's having all those like psychotic breaks and he's picturing fucking stepping on people of ash and like women's skins blowing off. And there's that sequence. The movie always goes back to that sequence of him at the celebration in the fucking little auditorium. And it slowly devolves into like madness. Like he goes outside and the guy's throwing up from like radiation poisoning and like all this crazy stuff. There's a ton of like really crazy imagery in this movie. Like I said to Dusty, kind of joking, like this is objectively an amazing movie. Like it's a masterclass of pretty much every aspect of filmmaking. Christopher Nolan is a master. Mm-hmm. He's definitely full of himself and definitely thinks his farts don't smell. But you have to have that kind of mindset to be literally the best of your craft. And he is arguably the best living director out there. So yeah, this movie was like pretty flawless. I mean, honestly, objectively speaking. And I don't want to seem like I have a short attention span or I don't appreciate this movie or I don't see the passion behind it that Nolan was trying to do. And but this movie was fucking boring to me. Like I found
that's insane.
I found it to be a fucking snooze fest. This is just me personally. Yeah. I'm not saying I didn't like it's a great movie and I understand that it's great. I was bored to tears most of the time.
Now it's your turn to get ripped a new one by Miss.
By who?
Miss.
Oh.
Because I thought The Holdovers was a great movie, but I also thought it was a little long. And it was a little bit boring at times. And she's like, how could you fucking say that? Worst take ever.
You thought that about this?
So shout out, Miss. No, about The Holdovers.
Oh, yeah. I even gave you shit for talking about The Holdovers. Because it's
shout out, Miss.
It's a criticism you guys make often. So I was like laughing and I was going into this because I always kind of...
I don't make it often.
Nah, you don't make it often, but you do always mention runtime. You're like, it was a good runtime. It was good. This movie did not need to be 3 hours. Let's be serious. Okay? And
no, it didn't.
Like I said,
you can say that about any movie ever. The movie never has to be over 2 hours.
But listen, this is a largely political movie, okay? And there's a lot of talking. Like the whole movie's fucking talking, okay? I didn't expect it to be an action movie, and the reason I pointed out is that how crazy it was. I've never seen anything like it. That Nolan was able to take these just scenes of mundane talking and actually make them action scenes. It's crazy. And he does that with the sound mixing, the score that's unsettling, the jump cuts that are unsettling. It's fast paced, it's bouncing around. Very effective. But I don't think it needed to be 3 hours because all that stuff I just described was fucking unrelenting the entire time. Like this is, to me, a very exhausting movie to watch. And I felt the fuck out of that 3 hours. So that's just me. Again, we talk about the length of movies all the time. I don't mind long movies when they keep you engaged. I just happen to really feel it with this one. And I feel like the last hour of the movie specifically kind of lost focus a bit. Again, it's all amazing shit. And it's really just like the
well, they have to show the aftermath of like trying to discredit him and all that bullshit. Maybe they could have shortened that a little bit and shortened moving up to it. Like I mean, it could have been 2.5 hours. I agree with you. There was a lot of stuff that probably didn't need to be in there, but the difference for me in this, like you said, like you said it was unrelenting, but I thought the sound and the cinematography kept me more involved in this movie than I was in The Holdovers because that's all just character-driven story. And so I can find stuff like that a little bit daunting or boring at times because I'm not getting engaged, whereas something like this is more engaging to me.
Well, I think that was my main issue with this movie, and it's a personal issue.
Sure.
And I can't explain it, but like all the techniques that went into this movie, like I said, the jump cuts, the sound design, all that stuff was unrelenting. It's like constantly pounding at you. The movie basically is like yelling at you. And it's like to make you feel uncomfortable. And at the same time, there were often times where I was just like, I'm fucking bored, man. Like, I just don't care about what they're saying. Like, so I don't know. It was like, you would think those are two things that like push against each other. But really, the only thing that kept me engaged in this movie was the performances, because the performances were fucking astounding. There was
they were.
like, there isn't a good performance in this movie because they are all fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Every single person in this movie, even fucking Sean Avery, the former Ranger who was in it for 2 seconds, was great in this movie. So, like, that's what kept me engaged. Like the performance that Cillian Murphy gave is just, I like, again, I'm not an actor, but seeing, I'll use a pretentious word that actors use often. It was transformative. This guy's fucking, he went to like depths that I haven't really seen an actor do before. Like, as he ages and in the different scenes, he's like, he has different delivery and a different tone. And like, it was just, he completely transformed himself as a human being. And there's a scene, I don't know if you guys noticed this, it was very subtle, but there was one moment where he's like walking towards the camera, and I think it was after they did the test. I don't remember exactly when it was, but the lighting on his face makes him almost look skeletal. He looks like a skull in nature. It was like a really sick fucking scene. And it was definitely done on purpose.
Yeah.
All right, well, back to Marvin. You said you didn't agree with me at all, so go off, King.
Well, you said it's too long.
I think
or you got bored.
For me, yeah.
I just think you could say that about any movie that's maybe over 2 hours or 2 hours and 15 minutes or whatever. Like,
yeah, it's subjective. It really depends on the content and like how it is for the person.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the conversation carried well through the movie. I didn't really feel myself drifting off, more so as just I don't know, maybe wanting to get to the next part a little bit faster, if that's what you're saying. I never found it boring though. I was anxious just to conclude the story because I was very, I guess, immersed or involved in it.
Yep.
But
I had these like opposing feelings where like, I don't know, I felt like, I don't know how to really describe it, to be honest, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe
it's like Marvin was
sorry, go ahead.
Enveloped in what was happening and what the outcome was going to be. And like, you obviously said, the story, and I could feel this way about like, what's the Nazi movie that got an Oscar win, where they're like living a normal life right next to the Jewish Holocaust camp.
Yeah, I can't think of the name of it.
Zone
of interest.
Zone of interest. Like that one, I'm like, I know it's probably good, but I'm so really not interested in watching it because I've seen so many World War II Nazi movies that it's like, it feels like it's going to be work just to get through it, even though I'm sure it's an amazing flick. But I can feel like how you can feel that way sometimes about period pieces because you know what happens during that period. But I think sometimes when the right director and the right actors come along and the right cinematographers, it can still be compelling and good.
I mean, I guess my conflict is that like watching this movie, like I'm watching it for like the technical marvel that it is, and not so much like the content of the film in terms of like story, and if that makes any sense. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I guess maybe boredom isn't the right word either. I really felt the 3 hours, I guess, is what it was. I don't know.
You were disinterested at times.
There were times where I was disinterested. There were certain, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm having a hard time articulating it, but
no, I get it. It's a lot. If you're feeling exhausted by it, I mean, you obviously felt it, right? I mean,
yeah. But it's not because of any
it's draining, mentally draining.
It's not because it was bad and I was like, fuck, I need this to be over.
No, it's just mentally, it's an intense movie. It's not like a movie
it's just
where
a lot. There was a lot going on.
Was it the sound and the cinematography that you said was relentless? Was it anxiety inducing?
No, it wasn't that.
You were just like, that's just too much. It doesn't tone it down a little bit.
No, I was like, that's what I'm saying. These two feelings I had were definitely like pushing against one another. Like I was definitely disinterested at times, but also like I was kept engaged by like the movie effectively did what it wanted, like what it needed to do. Like Christopher Nolan knew, like, yo, this is boring, right? People in rooms talking is boring. So I got to do all this crazy shit to keep people engaged. It worked.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
But there were still times where I was like disinterested and I was like, oh my fucking God. Like, you know what I mean? So I guess that's why I'm having trouble explaining, because I'm not saying it was bad. Like, I'm not, that is not what I'm saying at all, or that like me being disinterested is a bad thing because the movie was bad or this. It was totally a me thing, but the movie did what it needed to do to keep me continuing it. Because, like, you know,
yeah,
if it wasn't as good, I probably would have turned it off or something, or I would have just been like, oh, well, fucking on my phone the whole time, which I wasn't. So,
right.
Yeah, that's a good sign. But like, this is one of those movies, man, where like every single frame, movement, action, like literally everything is meticulously crafted with purpose.
Yeah, right.
Said the sound mixing, the design is amazing, very effective. The cinematography is brilliant. Everything you would expect.
Practical effects of the explosions.
Yeah,
it's kind of sick.
Yep,
when
everything.
You see the final product, it's like he made that.
Mm-hmm. And it's
well,
everything.
Not him, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, it's everything you'd expect going into a Christopher Nolan movie. Like, that's, you know, he's made a name for himself for a good reason. He seems to get better with each film. You know, sometimes he gets criticism for his movies being confusing, especially with Tenet. I hated Tenet. I'll never like that movie. I didn't find this movie confusing at all, even though it jumps between different time periods very, very frequently. I guess maybe because I am aware of like the timeline of events, but I didn't find it confusing at all. Were you guys, or were you confused at all?
No, but I am also familiar with.
Yeah, and it's
happened,
like it's like very clear the stuff that is in color is like from his perspective, and the stuff that's black and white is like from Strauss's perspective or whatever, or the focus is on that part of the story.
Yep. Did you guys have a favorite scene in this?
Not really. I mean, I guess the ending was pretty poignant and powerful, but it was also a little bit cheesy.
You thought it was cheesy? A
little bit. I mean, it's like a layup kind of, you know?
Yeah. It was easy.
There's an issue that I have with this movie about like the framing of things. Like, I think it did everything well. In fact, I was surprised that like the movie's like very leftist, which is not the norm with movies like this. Normally movies or filmmakers are afraid to go down those paths. Movies like this are very like American exceptionalism brained, and like, but this movie, like, there's even like leftist politic, like inside jokes and stuff that some people say in the movie, like in the Communist Party and things like that. Like,
yeah.
So I was pretty surprised at that. I mean, favorite scene, I don't know that I really have one. I really like when Emily Blunt fucking just shit on the fucking dude, the prosecutor.
That was great.
And she was fucking amazing too. Like, everybody in this movie was just unbelievable. The only real criticism I have of this movie, like actual criticism other than the 3 hours, is the way Florence Pugh's character was sort of portrayed. It's like she's only in the movie to be fucking naked. That was a little bit weird to me. A little bit weird.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's like more of a human being than that, but the movie didn't really treat her like that at all.
Zack Snyder-ish.
Yeah, so that was a little bit bizarre, but otherwise, I don't have many complaints. What about you guys in terms of favorite scene?
I'm the same. Yeah, my favorite scene, I really love the ending and like the speech and the.
Yeah, I remember you like telling me about that after you had watched it.
Yeah, like with the raindrops, I thought that was awesome, and obviously the chaotic scene at the celebration.
Yeah,
was like a trip for that as well. So those are probably my favorites.
Dusty?
Mine would probably be the early on stuff where he's talking to, you know, the other brilliant, like he's talking to Einstein, he's talking to Heisenberg, and then he puts the class together, and the one dude walks in and he's like, I'm in the wrong place. He's like, no, you're not. Sit down. We're going to learn this shit and figure this shit out together. And then the class grows like that, like him getting into the field of, I thought was pretty cool. But
well, that's why, like, I think I said in the beginning, I think the movie really does a good job at pointing out the fact that he is all theory. Like,
And he relied on other people to figure some of that shit out. You're a better mathematician. Do it.
Yeah.
and when I say that, it's like he has a love of the field, and like it's if you're a scientist, like that's what you do. It's like you are doing things like science is meant to work for the betterment of mankind, and he worked in the exact opposite of that.
Well, it's like the guys who are still doing string theory, and other scientists are laughing about it. Like, that's been disproven. Why are you still going down that? It's like the love of the theory, and maybe we
string
can find
theory
it.
has unlocked a lot of different answers to things. But
the black gravity or whatever it is.
Oh, dark matter.
Dark matter, yeah.
Dark energy. But yeah, I mean, listen, everything about this movie is good. It's just an objectively good movie. As great as it all is, I think the 3 hours just that undercut it a little bit for me. I think there were some lulls throughout it for me that like I was just I was like okay. There's just like too many times like that I looked at the time and there was just still like an hour and 20 minutes left, and I was just like okay.
That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, have you guys seen any of the criticisms that like I don't really know like what demographic is complaining about it? It's probably like I would say like leftist people who are like, man, you're just ignoring like the Japanese perspective and this, that, and the other thing. It's like it's not that movie, man. Like
right.
We all know that was fucking horrific, and I saw one review where they're talking about like this movie glorifies him and like makes him to be out to be some hero. I never really got that at all. I don't know.
Not at all.
I don't know where you're coming up with that. The movie certainly doesn't treat him as a villain, but it doesn't treat him as a hero.
Right.
If anything,
yeah, because Nolan goes through the condemnation and you kind of feel bad for him. So maybe that's what they're talking about. But
I mean, if anything, the movie
it was a tumultuous time back then because we had the communist scare and we were fighting a world war. So
yeah. So I don't know. That's weird. But this is just a movie about a smart guy who created something evil and, as I said, in many ways, like destroyed the fucking world, and then was punished for it, both by his own community and by his fucking own mind. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of it.
Yeah.
Trying to think if I missed anything here in my notes. I think my issue with it, now that I'm thinking about it, aside from like the slight boredom and stuff, I think I didn't really connect with the movie in any way. I think that's what it was. Like, I didn't have any real emotional connection to this, what was happening. I didn't have an emotional connection to any of the characters. I was just like kind of like watching it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I think that's
I think I saw myself having a connection with Oppenheimer. Not that I've never been in any type of similar
See, that's
position,
what it was.
But
yeah, like how could you connect with him? Like he's a fucking brilliant narcissist.
Well,
it's hard to relate.
You can
to
imagine.
Brilliance,
I mean, it is, but you can imagine.
You can
the
empathize with what he's going through sometimes.
Yeah, you can imagine the weight of creating this thing and being conflicted between taking pride and not with it, but you still gotta get it complete, you know?
Yeah, I just think I didn't feel like close to the story or anything by the end of it. I don't know. Maybe I was wishing for like a different movie than we got, but either way, as I said, it was objectively a great movie. Like there's no question. It's a technical marvel. His films usually are. It was deserving of all the awards. I don't think I do think out of the movies that I've seen, I really do believe that The Holdovers should have won Best Picture, especially if you're putting these two up against each other.
I can see that. I don't agree, but I think
the acting in The Holdovers was like just as strong as in this movie. I think all the things that you would consider for Best Picture are just as strong in The Holdovers as in this movie. I think this movie's just a little bit more flashy about it.
For this one,
because of Nolan's technique, you know.
Yeah, it just for me, it just had more weight. Like it just
Oh,
felt.
totally. I mean, this is a movie about like literally.
I mean, yeah, like it was just deeper, I guess. Which
You
surprise.
missed it last time.
got me again.
Yeah, it just was deeper for me. And
yeah, I mean, it's a fucking.
it just has so much more weight to it and the history behind it.
Yeah, it's a heavy fucking topic. I mean, this
It's
literally
fiction versus like
totally.
Doc Brown.
I don't even know what is this, a bio? Oh yeah, this is a biopic.
This literally shaped the history of the world since. Like it's everything that.
It's just one of those what if. It makes you think about one of those what if moments. Like, what if we didn't?
Yeah, what if the curve of the ball broke differently? But guess what? It didn't. And the military-industrial
it's
complex
just all those
won.
little things.
And we've used the bomb as our way to establish ourselves as the, global superpower. And the fucking, just, we're Debo, baby. We're the Debo of the world. That's it.
In fact, that bomb is nothing but a peanut compared to the bombs that they've since created. You can go over to type in nuke map to Google.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys have seen this, but
I've heard of it.
You could put in all the different types of warheads.
Yeah. I don't think I really want to do that, to be honest.
It's fucking disgusting.
Well, they're splitting a different.
The Hiroshima bomb is 15.
No, the atom bomb is different than a nuke. The atom bomb is technically not nuclear, I don't believe.
The Hiroshima bomb was 15 KT. I think that's
kilotons.
Kilotons, yeah.
Yes.
And now the USSR or at some point the USSR tested one that was like fucking, I don't even know the math behind it. Like just way bigger. Like it would flatten
them off in the ocean. That's how we got Godzilla.
I think the most brilliant part of the movie, now that I'm thinking about it, was I love the fact that it came back full circle with that warning of, the first detonation. Like there's a what do they call it? A not 0%. There's a not zero possibility that like we could ignite the atmosphere and it would be.
Oh my God. That shit was fucking
a chain. It would set off like a chain that would destroy the world.
Yeah.
But the movie comes full circle, and at the end you realize like that did happen. That's
the chain.
Just figuratively, not like it didn't. They did set off a chain event that would like lead the world to ruin because.
Oof, shit gives me chills.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like at the top, like that's why I said everything about this movie is fucking great. There's like nothing wrong with it. Like it has a fucking 8.4 on IMDb. Like it's a 10 out of 10 movie. Like let's be honest. It's just
it is. It's a 10 for me.
It is a 10 out of 10.
I'm not even gonna wait for you to ask. It's a 10 for me.
No, yeah, it's a 10. It's a 10 out of 10 for sure. It's just a little bit long. I think they tried to tell too much of the Wikipedia page and could have been a little bit short. That's all. How about you, Dusty? What you got?
I give it an 8.5.
8.5. Okay.
That's pretty good for Dusty, guys.
Why not?
Watching.
You can't go any higher unless it's a 9 because I don't do 9.5s or 10s.
Why wouldn't you go higher than 8.5? Just out of curiosity.
I think probably because of rewatchability. Like Beverly Hills Cop, I think is one of the few that I gave a 9 to, and I can watch that like a couple times a year, every year without problem. But this one,
I'll never.
Like
watch
I may
this
go back and
again.
rewatch it a couple times, but I won't rewatch it a lot.
I should have watched this again. I love this movie.
And I did watch it again. I think I've seen this my second or third time seeing it. It might be my third. I don't remember, but
damn.
Nice.
I mean, I may go back to it in a couple of years, be like, man, I haven't seen that in a while. I'll see it, but it's not like, oh, I need to go watch it. If it's on, if I'm watching with somebody that hasn't seen it, I'll enjoy it, but
yeah,
I'm not going to search it out.
I looked into the numbers for this bomb again, by the way, for anyone that's interested. So the Hiroshima bomb was 15 kilotons.
Right.
The largest USSR bomb tested is 100 megatons, which is 100,000 kilotons.
Because it's uranium they're splitting, right? Instead of hydrogen.
That I'm not sure. But
hydrogen is what was the if I understand correctly, hydrogen is the activator, sort of the spark.
Right.
But yeah. So you guys love it. I want to know what you guys didn't like about it. Let's hear it. Marvin? Gotta be something.
What didn't I like about it? I'm really thinking. I'm trying to think here.
Dusty?
Maybe Dusty can go while I think.
Well, I mean, there was. I agree with you. Like the sex scenes, the unnecessary nudity, and some of it, or like the I am become dead, destroy worlds during a sex scene. Some of it was a little cheesy, like unnecessary. Like you could have done a better job of that line delivery. But other than that, I didn't really have too many problems with it. I thought everybody did an amazing job acting. They picked great characters.
That's
except
fair.
for Bryan Cranston, of course. But yeah.
I know Robert Downey Jr. and Cillian Murphy are getting all the fucking praise for this movie. They're out there.
Well, they won an Academies for it.
No, I understand, but I think some people that are not getting proper credit, like I said, everybody in this movie is phenomenal, but Matt Damon fucking crushed it in this movie.
Mm-hmm. He did.
And you know who else was a standout too? Fucking Josh Hartnett.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, I haven't seen this motherfucker in a movie since, I think, like, Lucky Number 11 that came out.
Oh, yeah, that's because you didn't watch the Operation Fortune movie, I think is what it was.
No. So, I haven't seen... I swear, I'm looking at his credits now. I don't think I've seen him in a movie since Lucky Number 11.
Who's
Josh Hartnett.
The last movie I saw him in was The Faculty, for sure.
Operation Fortune's a fun movie.
The Faculty, I forgot about that one. Oh, he's in Wrath of Man too, that Jason Statham movie. It's actually one of the few Jason Statham movies that I actually like.
That is a good one.
I love that movie. That's the fucking Parasites.
Wrath
Who does
of Man.
he play in that one?
Wrath of Man's
his son?
No, Wrath of Man's the Guy Ritchie.
His son dies.
He plays.
They're both Guy Ritchie movies, Operation Fortune and Wrath of Man.
Yeah, he plays the one that he plays one of like the fucking like the fake cop guys, the security guys. Like
that's right. Yep. He plays an actor in Operation Fortune, and they use him to get inside.
Did you watch The Beekeeper yet? Speaking of Jason Statham movies.
Yeah, we talked about it. I think a week or two ago, didn't we?
I mentioned that I watched it. I didn't know that you had watched it, unless I forgot.
Yeah, I don't remember if Marvin was there for that recording or he hadn't seen it, but yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That's Oppenheimer, folks. If you haven't seen it, I mean, definitely watch it. It's a fucking astonishing achievement of filmmaking. If you like movies and you haven't seen it, like, you're fucking up. But yeah, that's it. I don't know what else to say.
So I didn't. Maybe the thing you said about the cheesy sex scene, I become deaf, whatever.
I just thought Florence
that was
Pugh
cheesy, but I don't think I didn't like it. So
I just didn't like how Florence Pugh's character was like. She basically was like the crazy bitch. Like I don't know. It just seemed weird from the rest of the movie. And then there's like the dream sequence where she's like riding him during the fucking like little kangaroo court bullshit thing, and like I don't know, it just seemed a little bit weird.
Yeah.
It was a little Zack Snyderish, that's all, you know? Yeah, it was a little Snyder in him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it, folks. That's it for us. Next week, what do we got? Make Marvin Watch next week? Is that right?
Yes. Well, if you want to, we've got 3 more weeks in this month, so you can push that off. We can do, I don't know, there's not too many other Oscar films we can cover unless you want to do Poor Things. I think that's out.
Let's do Poor Things next week.
Okay.
I want to see that, and we'll do Make Marvin Watch for the 26th, because on the 22nd I will be seeing Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and this month's Make Marvin Watch, as I decreed, will be Ghostbusters, the original.
I'll be seeing that in theaters. I don't know if seeing in a week and it comes out.
Nice.
Also, as Marvin pointed out today, we passed 600 subscribers. Thank you all so much. Please
comment.
If you haven't subscribed, hit the button. We appreciate it.
Yeah. As always, let us know what you thought of Oppenheimer. If you have differing opinions than us, I might get a lot of flack for it because I'm like the only person being like, it was a little bit boring. But again, just my personal opinion. Either way, leave a comment. Let us know what you thought. Leave a like on the video. It helps us out. If you have not subscribed, consider doing so. And we will catch you next week. Thank you for watching.
See ya.
Asta.